Hi, it's Kevin.
And it's Katie.
And we want to just talk to you. And
yeah, just a little heart to heart. You and me and you.
Yeah, and answer some questions that you might have about me and about her. So
yeah, but specifically today we were going to talk to you about, I feel like this is one of the most asked questions when people find out that Kevin does do social media, like when we meet people. So in person, people have asked us this a lot, so I imagine you might also be interested to hear about this, but like, how does Kevin deal with negative comments? And like, what's that like to take that on and to carry that? So Kevin, what is it like to, like, when people start piling on? I can think of a few times, like over the years, that it's gotten really bad. Like, what's it feel like? What's it like?
I don't know. I think for me, it's kind of crazy how people can be so cruel online. That like human decency is gone when you're online, because there's that like sense of like you're anonymous, like you can say kind of whatever you want and you won't get in trouble. And because I'm like, if you were to say that in real life, like somebody would like punch you in the face.
Well, like
somebody would break your teeth.
Social boundaries too, or they wouldn't even feel comfortable speaking.
They wouldn't even.
Who says this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, it feels like, the first few times it happened, it just like, it really like, it stung.
Yeah.
Like it really hurt. I was like, what? Like people would talk about like my forehead, you know what I mean? And like my receding hairline and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, that's rude. You know what I mean? Like you don't know me. And then, people would say things like, I think when people started talking about like my students, like, when I used to post, I posted with students because it was like super fun and it was like this awesome thing. We used to do roast battles.
Yeah, a way to connect.
But I stopped doing them because I would see the comments, and the comments weren't even just about me. The comments became something that was like, they started trashing my students, and I was like, no, that's not okay. Like they're children. You know what I mean? And like I'm 30 years old, and it's still like, I still struggle with some of these comments that come in, especially like if it's something that I've been struggling with lately. So
like, I actually, before you move on, I remember one time I got really pissed off because someone made a comment, and I think there was quite a few actually. I remember one time feeling really pissed off because there were a lot of comments about one of Kevin's students' skirt length, and it felt really inappropriate. She was maybe 15 years old, and I was heated.
Yeah.
Like, and 100%. It was just like, it was one of those moments where it's like, okay, apparently we can't show students' legs anymore. We're gonna like be aware of that, because there's people on the internet who are so creepy. And like, it was just like, I feel like over the years it's just been like a slow realization of like the world as it is, and like a slow like pulling back, like showing less of everything.
Yeah. Like I think like what I would love is to be like more authentic online, but it's hard because there's a lot of like bad, like the people will take your authenticity and like just
in terms of the students,
destroy you with it.
It was your first duty to protect them.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I remember going off of that, probably in that same video, people were calling me other things because she was wearing a skirt. Even though like I worked at a private Christian school where like they had a uniform and the skirt was like what they had to wear. That to me was like, you take 15 seconds of like a video, or you just take 15 seconds of my life, and then you like assume all these things and you think the worst about me. And it's like, you can be, and we saw that, what's his name? Chris Olsen.
Yeah. So they are piling on.
So
Chris
like
Olsen.
You can be the nicest person. You can post like fun stuff, clean, family friendly stuff. And people will still people will hate you or try to bring you down just because you are online.
Isn't it human nature though? Because it's like spectacle. It's like
spectacle.
Roman Empire.
Yeah, totally.
Stuff. Like we want like there's something in human nature that like loves to see a person set on fire or someone devoured by lions or like whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like we haven't gotten past that in society,
crazy.
Which is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Like I think even like the small things right now. So like people can comment that stuff now, and it like probably wouldn't affect me because like I was able to. Well, first of all, I stopped posting with my students for that reason, and then I don't make teacher content anymore, so it's whatever. So it's like just me, so people can make fun of me. But now I think the thing that I'm struggling with the most is with this new channel, like trying to figure out what I want to do. My story was that I was a teacher in the pandemic and wanted to get into my students' world, and that's how I started on TikTok. And and you could clearly see that my students loved me and that I loved them, and that's not really my online persona anymore. I very much love my students and always will, but I'm not a teacher anymore. So I'm like unsure about like what I even want to do on this platform or whatever. And man, when people comment just like oh, he fell off, or oh my gosh, there was one, I remember it because I responded kind of snarky, which, whatever. But they were like, wow, I thought I was really early to this video, but it turns out like your views are like low, so this is like the average or whatever. And it was like,
that hurt.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
And I said, and my response to that was, wow, I was really excited to read your comment, and then I finished it, and now it made me sad.
Aww.
And then they were like, wait, I'm so sorry. I'm like, because I think sometimes it's just, and a lot of times it's kids.
Yeah.
Anytime
you respond, they always retract.
They always go, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. And it's like, yeah, you did, but you didn't think that I was going to actually, you didn't think I was going to. So a lot of people, I think, also don't think like you're a real person online. Yeah. There's that disconnect. Right now, for me, like when people talk about social media, like, oh, he's fallen off. This one just got annoying, was put the fries in the bag. You know what I mean? Where like, they were just like, ugh, I hate this video. It just kind of gets annoying because like day in and day out, you're like trying to like create something funny and something that you like and all that stuff. And then you have a bunch of people just like critiquing you and saying, oh, it's terrible or whatever. Yeah. And it sucks. And that to me, like right now, is probably like the hardest thing, even though that's probably like low level insult. Does that make sense? Compared to like things I've gotten in the past. So
yeah.
But that's like something that I'm struggling with right now.
I will say, one time Kevin took a video of me when I didn't know he was taking a video, and he posted it without my consent, by the way. It was me dancing while watching a movie, and I was just like, I wasn't working that day, and Kevin was, and I'd been by myself. I didn't hang out with anybody all day, and it was just like the end of the day, and when you're just a little stir crazy and been by yourself all day, and then Kevin came home and he was doing something around the house, I forget, and then he was like standing in the doorway, and I was just like continuing to watch my little movie, and I was dancing, just like being weird. I was just like moving around. I hadn't worked out that day. I was stir crazy, and I thought he was just like on his phone in the doorway, but it turns out he was recording. And a lot of people had a lot to say about that video.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, she like, didn't see you filming.
Yeah, number one, that it was like faked, which is like fine. Like obviously a lot of social media is faked, but a lot of people had a lot to say about me, specifically like guessing at diagnoses that I might have, or like assuming different things. It was very weird. Like it was a very weird experience to have so much projected onto you. It's like fine, like I've always been kind of different. Like I went to junior high. I know what people think of me. Like I know I'm different than other people.
That's okay.
But it was so weird. Like to have 20 seconds of like me by myself with my husband.
She's like dancing while she's watching a movie.
Then to have so many people think it's okay to diagnose me. Yeah. So strange. And then there was another host of people who had something to say about the fact that I was watching a movie in a room that wasn't perfectly clean. And that was weird too. Like just so many people were so negative about the fact that like the room wasn't clean. I was like, you never hang out in a room that's not clean. Like, what? Like, I'm a person. I'm just a human existing like in my home by myself. Or I thought, you know, with my husband, I thought watching TikToks in the doorway. But like that was like my one kind of moment that I got like just all this parasocial relationship and projections and stuff, because it did end up going kind of viral. I don't remember how much, maybe not super, but like maybe 5 million, 10 million range.
Yeah, on Instagram it went pretty big, and on TikTok
so like not crazy, but big enough that like there were a lot of eyes on it, and it was so strange, you guys. Like I don't envy Kevin the scrutiny that he's under. I was actually listening to a Drew Afualo, I don't know if I said her last name right, Drew Afualo podcast today, and she said not many people could handle this, in response to how often people are like, you should be doing it. You know what I mean? People have so much to say about her and about a lot of influencers.
I've actually done
this. I could not handle it. Like, I genuinely couldn't handle what Kevin goes through, much less someone like her.
So my students, it's a thing, right? When you're young and you're a kid and you see YouTube and you see like influencers or whatever doing like making money and living this like lifestyle that they portray online, they don't have like a real idea of like everything that goes behind it. And so like I was teaching mental health because I taught a health class, and what I did was I pulled up I screenshot like a ton of my negative comments, and I just like read them out loud to my students, and I could just see my students like they were upset. Actually, they were like, you know, like,
I'm sorry, it was from your video?
It was from my videos. Okay. From my videos. And they were upset. They were like, no way. Like, they were like, no way. Like, they were so mad. They wanted to like fight people.
That's so sweet.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're tribal. And then I was like, okay, now I want you to like imagine like you're the one doing this, and you're the one that is like receiving all this. Like, could you do this every single day of your life? And many, like, all of them were like, no. So many of my students don't want to be influencers.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, they don't want to be on social media.
Back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like real with them about it.
Yeah. It's definitely at a cost.
It does come at a cost. It's cool,
but you are jaded. It's cool, but he's jaded.
I am.
Yeah.
In some ways, I'm like, there are things like I wouldn't say I'm maybe I am jaded, but like I'm calloused.
Yeah, calloused.
I think I'm calloused because I've been hit so many times. I almost expect it now in some ways. You know, like I expect there to be a negative comment. I expect somebody to say something. Yeah. And so like at times, like now I'm like, okay, whatever, it's coming. But it's like, it sucks that like that I have to be calloused in that way.
Yeah.
You know?
I honestly feel the same way about my work, that I'm very calloused in certain ways that isn't normal for other people. So I get you.
Yeah. Like just comments in general are tough. You know, like you read them and you want to respond to every single one of them, but you can't, because some are just like really, really like difficult to even like read, you know?